Good morning, elected officials, community partners, members of the press, Tenaris employees, and suppliers. My name is Martin Castro, and I'm the president of Tenaris in Canada. I am very happy to be here with you today at our industrial center to celebrate this important step forward in our history. Many of you were here last October when we celebrated Tenaris' 25-year anniversary in Sault Ste. Thank you for joining us today as we prepare the groundwork for the next decade of growth and investments. As we saw in the short film, at Tenaris, we know that energy connects us. Canadian oil and gas strengthen the prosperity of the country, and for that, we need the support of a robust domestic supply chain, creating opportunities in communities across the country like ours. Today, we are announcing a more than $300 million investment with the support of the Invest Ontario Fund and the federal government's Strategic Response Fund. Thank you to the federal and provincial governments for your steadfast support. This investment will expand production, extend the range of made-in-Canada products, and maximize productivity through the installation of new, state-of-the-art equipment. When this project is complete, we will have enhanced our production capacity significantly, nearly doubling the OCTG and line pipe production that will help unleash the value of energy across all regions in Canada. With special steel grades and proprietary connections, our products manufactured here in Sault Ste. Marie will be used in the most challenging applications, from shale gas in the Montney and Duvernay shales formations supplying the existing and future LNG projects in the west, to offshore deep water projects in the east. We're proud to be the only company in Canada to manufacture seamless pipes for these complex operations. Our steel pipes have a key role to play in bolstering Canadian LNG exports, supporting the world's increasing natural gas needs. A stronger Tenaris will support a stronger Canada. Energy connects us. Our industrial heart lays here in Northern Ontario, where we currently employ 800 people. Our co-workers strive every single day to manufacture the high-quality pipes our customers need, safely, efficiently, and while taking care of the environment. Over the past 3 years, we have nearly doubled our production, and this team has taken on every challenge along the way. We have another 400 people across Western Canada working in our service centers, coating facilities, and handling last-mile logistics and product installation for our customers. I want to take a moment to thank our entire Canadian team. The growth we are announcing today will not be possible without your commitment and dedication to industrial excellence. A special thank you to our many local contractors. We will count on your support over the next 30 months as we execute the next wave of growth. We are also very grateful for our community's unwavering support over the years. A new phase begins today. We are adding another 200 people to our workforce in the Soo. We want to continue growing our team, providing opportunities for training and development. Thank you again for joining us today. I truly believe that investments like these not only push Tenaris into the future, but also take Canada a step closer to realizing its ambition to become an energy superpower. I would like now to turn it over to Terry Sheehan, our Member of Parliament, for his remarks.
What a great day. Thank you, Martin. That was awesome. And Mike, thank you so much for the land acknowledgement. I share your respect, so thank you. Mr. Premier, pleasure to have you here. And our MPPs from the North and ministers from the North as well. Great to have you as well. And Mr. Mayor, of course, as well as the union reps too. So Hans and Mark from the United Steelworkers, thank you very much for being here too as well. And, helping put this together with the support of the workers. So I appreciate it very much. And Martin had mentioned that we were here in October, many of us sitting here. And at that time, during my remarks, I reminded people that when I was first elected in 2015, there were 25 people working here, 25. And they blamed a few things. They blamed a lack of action on foreign dumped steel. So we set about to make some of the strongest changes and some of the strongest trade regimes in the world that Canada has to protect our industry. And you're seeing the results of that as Tenaris started to grow again. As well, we had invested over the different times in different parts of Tenaris's production. So at the 25th anniversary, Roca, the global manager, was here, and I had the honor to sit beside him and have a really good chat. And you got to remember, this is a global corporation. So other countries are competing for those investments. And so I mentioned that Minister Jolie, who is with us here today, and working with the Prime Minister, had created specific funding for the steel industry and those industries affected by those tariffs, those unfair and unjust tariffs. And through that crisis came this opportunity. Through the crisis came the opportunity that we were able to create the strategic response fund that Minister Joly will be making an announcement about very shortly. And he listened very hard. And he also mentioned to me that he really liked what Prime Minister Carney was saying about becoming an energy superpower. Well, today, Tenaris is going to help Prime Minister Carney's vision become a reality. Tenaris workers are going to help Canada become that energy superpower that we need in the crises we face today. So thank you to all the workers that are here today. Very, very much. You're doing it. And I'm so excited that I get to announce my good friend who's had the back of workers ever since I have known her. I was her parliamentary secretary when she was in economic development. She's held major portfolios and really, really put Canada on the map where we are today. And currently the Minister of Industry. And the Minister of Industry, I tell you, I've never seen anyone work that hard. She rolls up her sleeve, she remembers everything, she's got your back, she's got the industry's back. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Minister Joly. Merci beaucoup. Chi miigwech.
Thank you, Terry. That was really nice. It's a pleasure to be back here in Sault Ste. Marie, of course, with Terry, with Matt, with my dear friend, Premier Ford, with my dear friend, Vic Fedeli, with all of their colleagues as well. Martin, thank you so much. To union leaders, good to see you. And to the workers, I'm so happy to see you. And I'm happy to see you because I know that when I was here in December, times were tough, and I really understand that when you think of the trade war and what we're dealing with right now with the US, Sault Ste. Marie is at the front lines of this trade war. And things have been tough, but you've been strong. The workers have been strong, the leadership team also have been strong. And basically, all together, we're fighting back. And I just wanted to say, first and foremost, thank you. Thank you so much for your work. And that's where we all clap, guys. So you've been hearing the PM saying that. You've been hearing myself also saying it. Basically, there are a lot of things we can't control in the world. We can't control what's going on south of the border. But there are lots of things we can control here in the country. And in 2025, we were much more in reaction mode. In 2026, we have a plan, and we're putting it into place. And that plan is about protecting jobs and also about creating jobs. Donc, sincèrement, il y a plein de choses qu'on ne peut pas contrôler dans le monde, mais il y a plusieurs choses qu'on peut contrôler. En 2025, on était plus en mode réaction, en mode action maintenant en 2026. Et notre but, c'est de protéger des emplois et également de pouvoir en créer. And so, Terry was alluding to it. What we've done for our steel workers is many things, including obviously the funding through the Strategic Response Fund. And Terry, you were referring to that, $1 billion only for steel. really being able to support our industry and our workers. We've also put counter tariffs against U.S. steel. We've also limited any form of dump steel here in Canada. We also worked on reskilling more than 50,000 workers in the steel sector. And also, which is really, really important, we came up with a Buy Canada policy, which is really important for the entire sector as well. And so, as we've been protecting workers, we're also working on creating jobs. So protecting jobs, creating jobs. And we have this entire vision of really developing major projects in the country to build Canada strong. And obviously, we know that maybe in energy, maybe linked to transport, maybe linked to critical minerals, a lot of these major projects will need steel, and steel coming from Sault Ste. Marie. So, we've been having many conversations. Obviously, you were referring, Terry, to your conversation with the global CEO. Martin and the team and I have had many conversations as well. And nearly a year ago, the conversation started about what could be done here at Tenaris. And so we know that Tenaris is the only seamless steel pipe producer in Canada that basically transforms raw steel into advanced pipe and tube. And it's a key component of the oil and gas sector. And you saw that in the video. And so notwithstanding tariffs, but because also of our major projects vision, well, we now are able to announce good news. Because the company was able to come up with a real business plan that makes sense for the workers, for the company, for the government, and obviously for the government of Ontario as well. And so the goal was always to grow the demand at home. And that's exactly what we're doing today. So I'm pleased to announce $76 million on the part of the government of Canada that will secure 810 jobs, but also that will create 200 new jobs here in Sault Ste. Marie at the Tenaris plant. So the project will have nearly $500 million in economic impact. It will increase production by 78% and also productivity by 36%. So that's good news. And also, it will be developing new types of products. Donc, ça me fait plaisir d'annoncer au nom du gouvernement du Canada 76 millions pour Tenaris ici à Sault Ste. Marie, qui vont pouvoir sécuriser 810 emplois, mais aussi en créer 200, alors que justement, on va pouvoir augmenter la demande pour le type d'acier qui est produit ici à l'usine. And so, we know that the trade war is tough, but at the same time, we know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. We'll be coming back more with good news for Sault Ste. Marie. We're working on a plan, and that plan is being executed. And so we know that we're holding strong. We will work, obviously, on taking care of our own, and we will build back this country even better. So thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. It's always a pleasure to introduce you, Vic. So I have the pleasure to not only be the Minister of Industry and work on attracting investments in the world, from the world here to Canada, but I have the pleasure also to work with someone that is always in his, suitcase, traveling the world, attracting investments to Ontario, and also having the backs of workers. Vic, the minister, my counterpart, the Minister of, not industry, but basically jobs and trade and many other things. You guys all know him. Please come to the stage.
Well, good morning, everybody. I want to, first of all, say thank you. I guess I won't. My pages just went flying. I want to say thank you to Minister Jolie. That was very good. I want to acknowledge our caucus colleagues and MPP Bill Rosenberg and Minister Peary. I want to acknowledge our federal MP, Terry. Mayor Shoemaker, it's great to see you again today. It's not all that long since we were back here. And of course, Premier Ford, wonderful to see you back for this milestone that's happening here in Sault Ste. Marie. Obviously, you've heard a lot of people already speaking about this great Great Lakes corridor. Sault Ste. Marie is a city that has long fueled Ontario's industrial legacy, from steel manufacturing and fabrication to forestry and biomass products. The Soo has enabled generations of businesses to prosper and continue to significantly add to our provincial and our national economies. Underscoring all of this is a resilient and hardworking community that reflects the standard of excellence and the Ontario-made brand. And that's the men and women who are here who exemplify everything that Premier Ford talks about with Ontario-made. During our last trade mission to Argentina, we had the opportunity to meet with Tenaris's international leadership team. They spoke so very highly, Martine. They spoke so very highly of Sault Ste. Marie and the have assembled here in the Soo. Thank you very much for everything that you're doing. In the face of global uncertainty, they affirmed in Argentina a message that we've heard all around the world. Companies making large-scale investments, they want stability, they want reliability, but mostly they want predictability. And companies know that the rules that they invested in last year will be the same rules that govern them next year. That's what we hear all around the world. And thanks to the leadership of Premier Ford, Ontario continues to come out on top as one of the jurisdictions of choice to support those ambitions. And that's why last month alone, in the province of Ontario, we created 42,400 jobs here just in Ontario. And that shows that our value proposition is our integrated ecosystem. Everything is working together to ensure that companies and their workers can withstand these winds of change and secure the future. So to Martine and the entire Tenaris team, we thank you for trusting Ontario as your partner for your continued ambitions, for companies whose name, Tenaris, literally means tenacity. There's no better place and more fitting place than Sault Ste. Marie to support your growth. We look forward to returning in the years ahead to celebrate many more milestones with you. Now, this is my favorite part of coming to the Soo today. I get to introduce Premier Ford. You've heard about the 750 companies. He's probably going to talk about all of these companies that came to Ontario last year. I want to say to you all, there's no better friend to these businesses who are landing here. There's no better person to have your back. There's no better person that will support and protect Ontario. There's no better closer on all those businesses than Premier Doug Ford.
Well, first of all, thank you, Vic, for that introduction. And Mayor, great to be back in the Soo. I love the Soo. I love the people here. Terry, good to see you. Martine, thank you, and your whole team. And one of my favorite, I got to say, well, okay, you're my favorite, Minister Jolie. It was always a competition between him and Minister Jolie and LeBlanc, so she overtook LeBlanc. My great, my great colleagues, Minister Peary, MPP Rosenberg, thank you for being here and doing an incredible job. And I always call Vic our #1 salesperson around the world. I don't know how the guy does it. He's on a plane all over Europe and everywhere else. And I just want to acknowledge all the other elected officials here in industry. And I want to thank the union leadership and the frontline union workers. I'll always have your back, and I'll never, ever waver with that. As I mentioned earlier on, Martin, the whole team here at Tenaris, you're doing an incredible job and you're blazing a new trail, and we're going to be there for you. You know, Sault Ste. Marie's steel industry is a crucial part of Ontario's manufacturing supply chain, supporting over 69,000 jobs across the province, providing key components for critical industries like the auto sector, the aerospace, and construction, of course, and the oil and mining and so on and so forth, while supporting emerging technologies like high strength and green steel. We know the sector is under attack from President Trump's tariffs, and we've seen the impact right here, Sault Ste. Marie. But our government was elected on a mandate to protect Ontario. And I always say my number one job is to protect the companies, the frontline hardworking men and women, their communities, and I won't stop until I know we have a deal with the U.S. and President Trump, and we'll just keep moving forward. From tariffs and global economic uncertainty, and that includes our steel workers. While we may not be able to control President Trump, matter of fact, I don't think anyone can control that guy, we're controlling the decisions we make right here in Ontario. We're cutting red tape, keeping taxes and fees low, and saving businesses and families $12 billion each and every single year, and cutting red tape by $1.8 million. And by creating the conditions for growth, we've attracted over $222 billion of investment here. And just last year alone, I always say government doesn't create jobs. We're all in trouble if government creates jobs, by the way. We create the climate and the conditions and the environment for great companies like Tenaris to invest into their people, into their communities. Last year alone, $35 billion of investment from 175 companies, creating over 26,000 jobs. Those are real numbers. And what, Vic, you were saying, last month in April, the job numbers came out. Think of this. So we created the environment, and companies like Tenaris and each and every one of you created 42,400 jobs in 1 month, just April alone. Look at the rest of the country, minus 18,000 jobs across the country. But it shows you our plan is working. But what I love even more than that is the entire United States, with 350 million people, only created 115,000 jobs. Ontario with 16 million, the U.S. with 115,000 jobs and 350 million people. We kicked their butts by 641%. We're going to keep kicking their butts because we have the greatest people in the entire world. That's what makes me the happiest. And to diversify. But folks, we couldn't do it without folks like yourself and partnerships with municipalities and the federal government and great union members. And to diversify our economy and increase our independence from the U.S. trade, we're investing over $4 billion in the Protect Ontario account in key industries like manufacturing, defense, and critical minerals. We're also investing in our workers through our $236 billion plan to build, which is the largest infrastructure plan of its kind in Canadian history, to connect communities, create jobs, and grow our economy. And as we build, our Buy Ontario policy is ensuring that we use Ontario steel, lumber, vehicles, and anything else we can so Ontario tax dollars support Ontario workers. Here in Sault Ste. Marie in the last 3 years, we've invested over $91 million in highways, bridges, safety improvements in the area, including resurfacing, paving, and safety work on Highway 17 from Sault Ste. Marie to Hedden. We've invested over $9 million to build a new addition to H.M. Robbins Public School, adding 26 more student spaces and 64 more childcare spaces. We're also investing $5.7 million to connect over 14,000 local patients to primary care here in the community as part of our plan to connect everyone in Ontario to care by 2029. And to help boost local tourism, create good-paying jobs, and expand community infrastructure, our government is investing over $3 million to redevelop John Rhodes Community Centre and support 2028 Ontario Winter Games. I can't wait for the Winter Games right here in Sault Ste. Marie. We've also worked with the federal government to stand up for Ontario jobs by investing through our Protect Ontario financing program to support workers at Algoma Steel. Because Ontario's steel industry and Ontario steel workers are the best in the world. And we'll put our workers against anyone in the world. And that's what brings us here today. For over 25 years, Tenaris has been supporting Canada's steelmaking sector and energy industry, employing 800 workers right here in Sault Ste. Marie in good-paying, meaningful jobs. Tenaris is the only manufacturer in the country capable of producing the steel pipes needed for Canada's oil and gas industry, and this kind of Ontario-made manufacturing is more important than ever before. That is why I'm thrilled and welcome the $306 million investment by Tenaris. Thank you again. I appreciate it, Martine. To modernize and expand its steel pipe manufacturing operations right here in Sault Ste. Marie. This expansion, as we've heard from everyone that's been up here, will create 200 new good-paying jobs, increasing Tenaris' production capacity by 80%, and our government is proud to support this investment with up to $72 million through the Invest Ontario Fund. So, as we continue working to get Canadian energy to new markets and around the world, this investment will help ensure that infrastructure that unlocks our energy is built by Canadian workers with Canadian steel. And today's announcement is a symbol of the resilience of Ontario's world-class workers, our manufacturing might, and what we can achieve when we all work together, because we have the resources, we have the knowledge, and above all, we have the greatest people on earth to protect Ontario and build the most competitive and resilient economy in all of G7. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you, everyone.
We will now take questions from the media. If I can please have the speakers come up to the stage for questions. Media can line up behind me and come to the microphone and state their name and outlet. Just a reminder, the format of questions today is one question and one follow-up. Okay, I'll invite the first reporter.
Good morning. My question's for the Premier.
Yes.
Sault Ste. Marie has made a deep water port a priority for this community, but that port's going to cost $200 million for infrastructure, both for the port and rail line. Will the province partner up with the city and the feds to pay for that, to contribute to that port and to help Sault Ste. Marie's economy and infrastructure?
I think that would be a fantastic project. We'll sit down with the mayor, discuss it. We'll sit down with the minister right beside me, because they have more money than we do. But we'd be very, very interested in investing in it, as long as the feds come on board.
Yeah. Thank you, Doug. So the Minister of Transport, Steve McKinnon, was here recently also with Terry. I know he's aware of the project. We're really interested by the project, but of course we want to be able to work with the province. We know that Sault Ste. Marie right now is and has always been strategically located. We want also to be able to diversify the economy here, and we know that we can reinforce the steel sector and at the same time be aware of different projects, including transport ones. And I know the mayor has been all over us to talk about this project. And I wonder whether he talked to you to ask us the question. We know Matt, you know.
We already know that.
My follow-up is also for the Premier. Sault Ste. Marie's MPP Chris Scott has suggested that once his criminal charges are resolved, that you will take him back into caucus. Is that true?
I have no comment on that until let's see what happens.
Next question.
I'm going to state my publication. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Northern Ontario. This is for both Minister Jolie and the Premier. I'm just asking, what do you think about Premier Danielle Smith moving ahead with a question on separatism in this fall's referendum?
Well, I'll go first.
I'd never do it. Premier Smith knows how I feel. She wants to, I guess, protect her 30% base. It's not going to win, as far as I'm concerned. It'd be a disaster for Alberta to split away from our country. We have the greatest nation from coast to coast to coast. I'm proud to be Canadian. Everyone in here is proud to be Canadian. And I would never do that. But then again, I'm not the Premier of Alberta. That's up to Premier Smith to decide. But I would never, ever put that poll to Ontarians.
So, Prime Minister Carney mentioned this morning that we believe that a strong Canada also begins with a strong Alberta. And we think that right now what Canadians are looking for across the country, in Alberta and Ontario, in Quebec where I come from, Atlantic Canada, everywhere, they want good jobs, they want a good life. And everything that we're dealing with right now in the context of the trade war is to be able to work with provinces in a way to be able to have good jobs across the country. And so we are united. We need to have a united front. And that's why we've been working on cooperative federalism, because we think it's our job at the federal level to work together. We also think that we have the responsibility to make the federation work. And so that is exactly why we're in the Sault today, announcing investments and creating new jobs. But this will have an impact also in Alberta, because in Alberta, we believe in the energy sector. We just signed an important MOU, and what is happening here has clear linkages also to the Alberta energy sector. And we know that this is just a perfect example of us all working together.
Can I get that in French as well, please?
On pense que la fédération, en fait, le Canada peut être encore plus fort lorsque toutes les provinces travaillent ensemble. Et bien entendu, un Canada plus fort commence aussi par une province de l'Alberta plus forte. Nous pensons également que ce qu'on annonce aujourd'hui a un lien direct avec aussi ce qu'on voit en Alberta, parce que le secteur de l'énergie, le secteur de l'acier, tout lié. Et je vous rajouterais même en français que ce qu'on vit ici, le secteur de l'acier qui est très affecté, est également très affecté également au Québec. Et donc, dans ces circonstances-là, alors qu'on gère une guerre tarifaire, notre objectif est d'être unis. Notre objectif aussi au niveau fédéral est de pouvoir travailler sur du fédéralisme coopératif et essentiellement avoir un front commun en pleine guerre tarifaire. Donc, on est capable de démontrer que la fédération fonctionne. C'est notre responsabilité et nous allons travailler tout le monde ensemble. À la fin de la journée, ce que les Canadiens recherchent, ce que les Québécois également recherchent, ce sont de bonnes jobs, des bons emplois. Et dans ce sens-là, je pense qu'on est capable, en étant unis, de démontrer qu'on est capable de livrer pour monsieur, madame, tout le monde à travers le pays, d'un bout à l'autre du pays.
This is to the Premier. Why has your government instructed civil servants to stop the release and research associated with freedom of information requests?
We're just duplicating what the federal government's doing in every other province. We'll go by all the rules and regulations, 95% still be FOI, but we were the outlier. So we're going to duplicate exactly what the federal government is doing in other provinces. Thank you.
Good morning, Alex Flood, CBC. This is for the Premier. Wanted to ask about steel and tariffs and how Ontario's procurement policy is going to ensure that steel made from Algoma is used in Ontario projects and infrastructure?
Well, we passed legislation just here in Ontario of over $30 billion of products that we purchase has to be bought off an Ontario first company, second a Canadian company, and then if we don't have it, then obviously they'll go somewhere else to buy it. But it's right in legislation. It's absolutely critical that not only the province, we've included the municipalities, all 444 municipalities have to be buying Ontario products, or at least Canadian products.
And follow-up question for the Premier. A judge ruled last night that the region of Waterloo is not allowed to remove people living in a Kitchener encampment. Yeah. However, it is on a parking lot that Metrolinx needs to start work on, a massive new transit hub. What is your response to that, Premier? And do you think that the province could help the KW region in this situation?
I was on the phone late last night with the chair of Waterloo, a couple mayors up there, as well as our Attorney General. It's the most ridiculous ruling I've ever seen. Don't get me wrong, I have a great deal of respect for our judge of Supreme Court, but he comes out with this cockamamie idea that they're going to hold up an encampment, they're going to hold up transit. So for what, 30 people, they're going to hold up millions and millions of riders, communities and everything, saying you can't go in there, you can't touch them. So guess what, folks? Anyone can show up in your backyard. I wish they'd show up in this judge's backyard and set up camp. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. You can't move them on. We'll give them shelter and take care of these folks. But the judge is saying that we got to hold up projects and everything? I wish I could get that guy's address. I'll send 50 encampments in his backyard and see how he likes it. The craziest decision I've ever heard. But there's a lot of crazy decisions coming from our courts lately. And on top of gun owners, protect your guns. Simple as that. Don't ever give them away.
Connor Stoneman, Rogers TV. I have a question for Martin at the end here. Can you tell us a little bit about just the announcement today and just a little bit of, the history leading up to this point, to getting here, to getting the money and the excitement that comes with it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your question. As Minister Joly mentioned, this is a project that we have been discussing with the federal and provincial governments for over a year now. I think from a company perspective, what the federal government has been doing to renew the interest in oil and gas development in Canada has been very, very favorable in, let's say, analyzing and understanding the possibility of moving forward with this announcement. And we're seeing more and more development, particularly in Western Canada, which is supporting the growth of our production here. And for that, we thought it would be the right timing to invest here with the support of the provincial and federal governments, not just increasing production, but in creating good-paying jobs that will sustain the local community of Sault Ste. Marie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This will be the last reporter.
Good morning, James Hopkin, reporter for Sioux Today in Sault Ste. Marie. The first question is for Premier Ford.
Go ahead.
Morning, Premier.
Good morning.
I just wanted to know, are you concerned the government is going to break its obligation to give responses to FOI requests by the legislative deadlines?
No, I'm not concerned at all. You know who FOIs? The media party. They're obsessed with it. You talk to the average person. Do you know what they're concerned about in this room? They're concerned about their jobs. They're concerned about cost of living. They're concerned about making sure that they can afford a home or put a down payment on it. We're duplicating what the federal government is doing. Simple. We were an outlier. I should have done this 8 years ago, but I didn't. So the media party can focus on that. I'm going to focus on job creation and making sure that people can afford things and put food on their table and pay a mortgage. That is the number one issue. Our polls show it over and over and over again. But thank you. And I don't mean to be mean to you at all. But I'm just speaking the truth. The only people worried about this are the media party. Simple.
Thank you. Next question is for Minister Joly.
Yep.
Good morning, Minister.
Hello.
So we spoke with the owner of a local forest logging contractor who said the tariffs, combined with the high price of fuel, has essentially stopped work for this particular contractor. In his words, Terry Sheehan is up to his armpits in steel. Who cares about the forest industry? With that being said, Minister, is the federal government planning more help for forestry?
Okay, a couple of things. First and foremost, we know the tariffs are really hurting the forestry sector. We know that. We're on it. Actually, the Minister Hutchin, the Minister of Natural Resources, and I are working together to not only protect the workers, but to be able to transform the industry for the long run. And we know this is affecting Northern Ontario. We know it's affecting also the Atlantic Canada, Quebec, and BC. And we're on it. Of course, we want a good deal with the Americans, but meanwhile, we know we have to build this country strong, and that also starts with forestry workers. We know also that the issues linked to the forestry sector are linked to the tariffs, but also in general to other issues. And so we need to be able to have a very long-term vision. And so that's why we've been working on protecting the forestry sector, but also protecting the pulp and paper mills and also the different types of mill. The better example I can give you is Cap Paper and Kapuskasem. And so the BDC right now is offering support. We know it's not enough. We know that we've also moved on the steel and aluminum support, and we look forward to offering the same type of support also to the forestry sector. This is not a question of months. This is not a question of weeks. This is a question of days. I know there's a question you didn't ask me, and that I would like to ask myself in order to tell you. I know that there's been some issues at Algoma, we all know, back in December. And I know Sault today has been reporting on that. Later today, we'll be meeting with the company, with the union. Also, Terry will be there, who's doing a great job, by the way. And our goal is to be able to bring back the workers. We're creating altogether, 200 jobs here. We want to create also the 1,000 jobs at Algoma. There are two projects we're working on, one in defense, one also linked to infrastructure. And I've said that in December, and I will continue to say it. We will bring back these jobs at Algoma.
Good. Excellent. Good job.
Thank you. This concludes today's questions. Please remain at the front for a group photo.
Thank you.
Come on up, guys.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a group photo to capture the moment. So everyone line up on stage, and all the people in the audience, if you don't mind turning and facing Zach, the photographer, and we'll capture the photo.
Okay.